Friends, welcome to the Singularity. Let's get weird. I am Danny. We're talking about emotion today. Emotion. What is emotion? Friends, remember, energy in motion. Where does this come from? It comes from the heart. Comes from the heart, my friends. Energy flows through you, out of you, from the void, right? That is where your imagination rests, the energy. The emotion is from the heart. When you merge these two together, crazy things happen. So let's talk about let's unpack a little bit about energy and motion, okay? One thing we need to realize is that we are mostly unaware of our subconscious definitions that we attach to our emotional state, right? The things in our life, like struggles, okay? And that could be poor, like being poor, no money. Could be our relationships. It could be our religious practices. I don't know. You're struggling in your religious to understand it or whatever. Or you're struggling with drugs. There's a whole lot. Your job, career. Okay? All of this leads to struggles. Okay? Conceptually, that's what people understand it as. Okay? This is what their emotion tells them that these things are. They attach an emotion to it. And that's why we have to unpack our definitions. Okay? Now, one thing I want to ask you is, how would you react as the version of yourself in the desired reality, right? Let me reframe this. In your desired reality, how would the version of yourself react to a problem or an argument or any causal thing that's going on in your life outside of you? How would you react in your desired reality? Okay? And what I mean by that is, say you're arguing with someone, or someone comes up to you and they want to argue, they want to fight or something, whatever. It doesn't matter. For the sake of just discussion here. And you have that millisecond, right? You have a little small window where you can react in a few different ways, okay? You could react in a way that you subconsciously react, or you could react in a way that you are aware and you're observing the reaction. And at that point you could say, hey, is this my desired reality? Okay? Or you're just going to fumble it and drag yourself down into this argument. Well, it's a good chance you're probably going to fall down into the argument, because it's a subconscious definition. Okay? That you got to get back at this person. You're going to get them. You're going to tell them. Okay? So, it's just something to think about. How would your desired version of yourself act in that situation? Now, let's kind of unpack the struggle part. Okay? Now, let's just take money, for instance. Okay? If you're struggling with money. If you attach the emotion of struggle, okay? Now we're going to talk about emotion. if you're attaching struggle to money, okay, just follow me here. If you're attaching the struggle to the money, okay, then you're going to manifest. You're going to manifest the struggle, okay? Now, this might sound weird. You're going to manifest the struggle. Why? Why are you going to manifest the struggle? Because you have subconsciously gave it the definition of struggle, okay? So whenever you're thinking about money and you're like, all right, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to get more money. I'm going to get more money. You're thinking of the money. You're thinking of money. But you have subconsciously gave money the definition of struggle. All right, friends? So whenever you go out into the world, like, you don't realize this, but you're going to be manifesting, and whenever you're thinking about money, since you gave it that definition, you are going to be going out more and more and more and more out into the world, manifesting more struggle, because that is the definition that your subconscious sees money as. It sees it as struggle, okay? It's a mirror. You're looking for money, so it's like, all right, you're looking for money? Well, here's more struggle. Isn't that's insane, right? But that's exactly how your mind and your subconscious works, because you gave it that power, friends. Let's unpack this a little bit more. Think about love. Love in your relationships. How many times have you heard this, friends? Can't ever find a man. They're all dogs. Same thing with women. You know, all women are, you know the words. But they attach that struggle to love. Okay? All right? Now, whenever you go out looking for love in all the wrong places. I can't sing, sorry. Whenever you go out looking for love, since you gave it the definition of struggle, you're going to be shopping for struggle, my friends. Okay? Because you gave it the definition of that. You're going to manifest the struggle that's going to give you the love that you attach the definition of struggle to. Okay? It's only doing what you asked it to do. Okay? Not realizing it, obviously. But the more you're in your head, okay? Because remember, the mind creates the energy. And your focus, energy, and attention, okay, creates a vibration, which then creates a frequency, which then manifests as the physical world, okay? And then whenever you add your emotion to it, it ties it in. It ties it in, the mind and the heart. So this drives the creation of what you're thinking, and the heart solidifies it with emotion and gives it definition, my friends. Now, the same thing can happen with any one of these religions. You see it as a struggle to go to church, or you see it as a struggle to know God. It's going to be a struggle, my friends, because you gave it the definition of struggle. Okay? Your career and job. What happens with the job? Okay? You go to the job. You sign your, You get a job application, right? You do an interview. You're like, oh, this is great. This sounds amazing. When can I start? All right, you start here. Well, then after a few weeks, say you kind of just not like it anymore. Well, you came into an agreement with that job, that you wanted the job, you were going to do the job, and then now you are creating a definition in your head that is a struggle. Like, you agreed, you came into an agreement that you wanted to do the job, but then now on the outside, the emotion you're giving it is that this is a struggle. So you're giving conflicting information. Why would you give your own self struggle, friends? Think about this. If you come into an agreement with something, you need to own it, friends. Okay. And the next thing I want to talk about, all right? The idea of, say, for your career, I need to go work hard, okay? I need to just get out there, work hard. I got to earn it. That's the noble thing to do, right? Noble thing is to work hard, right? Because you get the praise. Everyone says, man, he worked so hard. He deserves that. Not knowing that we are giving it a definition, friends. The universe works in this way. You're going to give it a definition. It's going to become true for you. All right? Because if you think working hard and having to earn it is the definition subconsciously of, and your emotion to it is that this is the noble thing to do, right? Then you're going to have to work hard the rest of your life because that's the definition you gave it. The noble thing is, if I don't do it, then I am going to feel bad. You understand that? You understand that paradox where you work hard, you work super hard, you're like, man, I'm a hard worker. Pat that guy on the back. He deserves it. He earned it. He earned it. But guess what? Since he earned it, he'll have to keep earning it. Because guess what? If he's sitting around doing nothing, he's going to start feeling bad. So the universe has rewarded him, but he's got to keep doing it. Because he gave it the definition of hard work. Okay? Now, what you proclaim yourself to be physically in the physical world, remember, friends, you have the mind and you have the physical world. And everything starts here in the mind. Okay? Everything starts here in the mind. Remember, mind, energy, focus, attention, vibration, frequency manifest into your desired reality. If you're not thinking about your desired reality here, then you will not get your physical world that you're looking for. If you're filling it in with subconscious definitions, then that is the manifestation you will get. Okay? If you proclaim yourself to be broke physically, all right, because this is the cause and this is the effect. So if you're giving validation to the physical world that you are broke, if you're giving validation to the physical world that you are not lovable, that you cannot have love, if you give yourself in the physical world, Jesus doesn't love me, God doesn't love me. Okay, if you give in your physical world, the relationships, the drugs love me. The drugs ain't gonna love, they are use drugs, right? If you give it validation, if you give these things validation, my friends, it will become your reality. Okay? Because you are those things mentally. You are proclaiming it. Do you see it? If you say, I am broke, well, you're validating this, and you're going to validate this. So that is going to start a chain reaction to show you that you are right. If you work hard, if you need to work hard for money, if you need to work hard at anything in your life, you're proclaiming it. And that is going to start off a chain reaction in your mind to go send out the frequency of hard work. It's going to send out the frequency of struggle. It's going to send out the frequency of, you are not going to find love, my friends, because you gave it that definition. Stay feeling thoughtful.